And the basic normative reference in Italy of the subject matter are, on the one hand, we have the Italian Narcotic Act, the so-called Testo Unico Stupefacenti, Presidential Decree 309 of 1990, where that in Annex 2 lists cannabis as flowers, leaves, oil, and resins among the narcotic drugs. And on the other hand, the law 242 of 2016, that is the framework law about the supply chain of the industrial hemp. And this basic dichotomy gives rise to all the interpretive problems that we will see later, that do not always grasp the distinction between cannabis drug and industrial hemp. The law 242 of 2016 in the Article 1 states the purpose of this law, and the law 242 is a framework law with the purpose of promoting the agro-industrial supply chain from cultivation to processing to finished products. So it's not a law that deals only with cultivation, because in the paragraph 3, the law states clearly that the support and promotion concerns the cultivation of hemp aimed to cultivation and processing, the use and final consumption of semi-finished hemp products, the development of territorial supply chain, production of foodstuff, cosmetics, raw material, innovative semi-finished products for industries in different sectors. So there is an open list in reality, but the problems, as always, will be in the interpretation of the law and in the relationship with the Italian Narcotic Act. And the Article 2 states that no, there is not a prior authorization needed for hemp as for medical cannabis. So in Italy, the cultivation of the hemp varieties listed in the common catalog is permitted without the need for a prior authorization. And the paragraph 2 is very, very important, because it lists the products lawful that can be obtained from the crops. And in Italy, the products lawful are foodstuff and cosmetics, semi-finished products such as fiber, hemp powders, chips, oils for supplies to industries and activity and craft activities in various sectors. Material intended for the practice of green manure, for bioengineering works, for bioconstruction, for phytopurification, for the reclamation of the polluted sites, and crops dedicated to educational and demonstrative activities, and crops intended for floriculture. In Italy, is the law says florovivaismo. The translation of florovivaismo is something as floriculture or horticulture. After we will say better the sense of florovivaismo. The Article 3 sets out the obligations for the farmers, and in Italy, the obligation for the farmers are only to keep the tag and the invoice for the purchase of the seeds, because the seed communication to the public authority is not mandatory, but is advised for traceability and transparency purpose. And in the practice, we will see that is advised that a farmer makes a communication to the police authority to create and build a relationship of transparency and traceability, and in the practice this communication avoid many problems, many legal problems for the farmer. The Article 4 about checks and penalties, and seems easy because the law says that the controls must be carried out according to European regulation, especially with Annex 1 of the regulation 1155 of 2016. States the limits on the field, and in Italy we have this particularity because the THC limit on the field is 0.2%. In reality, 0.3% from January 1st of 2023, with a tolerance on the field threshold up to 0.6%. So we have this difference in Italy because we have a tolerance on the field until 0.6% of THC. And this tolerance mean that the seizure of the crop can only be ordered if the THC is higher than 0.6%. But in any case, no criminal liability for the farmers who has complied with the obligation of Article 3. So if the farmers skip the tag, the invoice of the seed. But as always or often in the hemp sector, there are many discrepancies between the law provision and the application practice. So we have some case of controls carry out not in according with the European regulation. We have some case of seizure of crops of the cultivation or the hemp product. We also, if the THC is under the low limit, but this is the history of hemp, and I think that this kind of problems are common in many countries, and I think especially in the Mediterranean countries. In this slide, I summarize some interpretive elements of the subject matter, because following of the spread of the phenomenon of the so-called cannabis light, so the sale of dried flowers for an undefined use, for collective use, for technical use, the jurisprudence was divided between one side holding that the flowers are complied with law 242 of 2016. So basically consider the flowers in any case as an agricultural product. But in the other side, other part of the jurisprudence holding that the flowers was a drug. So the issues was submitted to the United Section of the Supreme Court of Cassazione, the Italian Corte di Cassazione, which issued a ruling, the statement, the judgment number 30475 of 2019, that inviting the legislature to solve the problem, and which was not done today, and affirming a principle not easy to understand, a principle according to which the sale of flowers, leaves, resin, and oils is a crime, but unless they have a psychotropic efficacy, and this psychotropic efficacy needs to be discreetly evaluated by the judge case by case. And on the other hand, states that the lawful products are only ones listed by paragraph 2 of Article 2 of Law 242 2006 in that we have watched before. So, what is this concept of psychotropic efficacy? In Italy, there are different parameters obtained from forensic toxicology, and we have the 0.5% in the financial product. So, if there is a seizure of flowers, of cannabis light, flowers or other hemp derivative with a THC level until 0.5% for the forensic toxicology, this is not psychotropic efficacy, so it's not a crime. But we have this is not the only parameter. So we don't have in every case a parameter as an absolute weighted figure. In other case, the jurisprudence, the court makes reference to the single average dose of 25 milligrams kilograms, but to 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 be most complicated in Italy, we like to be complicated in the interpretations. In some cases, an absolute parameter is denied, and it is considered the flowers are drugs anyway. Uh, uh, for lucky, this is interpretation is minority interpretation, and we can say that the parameter, the prevalent parameter is the 0.5% value, the psychotropic efficacy.
Sorry to interrupt you. You have still 1 minute to go because
I finish.
Okay,
and now, after the Lazio judgments number 2313 and 2216 of February 2023, we are going to the affirmation of the whole plant approach, but we are waiting for the Council of States. This is some extract for the judgment of Lazio. Maybe if somebody wants to share this slide, can be. And here we have a quick look at some statutory destination. So the sense of floriculture destination in Italy, where the reproduction of hemp plant is permitted, the agamic means of material intended for production of and for subsequent marketing is it's legal. So in somehow the flowers fall under the law for the circle Ministry of Agriculture. This is the hemp food legislation in Italy that need for linkage with European indication. So with the new THC limit from the regulation of 2022, and after that the leaves are removed from the novel food catalog. And the cosmetic in Italy is the destination less problematic one, because the cosmetic ingredients are allowed without restriction, with just one the question about CBD, that the CBD is legal as a cosmetic ingredient if obtained from not prohibited parts of a hemp plant. Finish. And about CBD, especially with the CBD oil, now we have the Ministry of Health suspended. So as of today, the CBD in Italy is not listed among the narcotic substances. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for this very useful and interesting presentation. If you have any question, please use the chat, and at the end of the session, we will also have some time for in-person question, and also during the breakout session. So now I leave the floor to the second speaker, which is Anna Gabrielova, the president of Hemp, one of our partners, that will present, of course, the HempCluB policy framework related to hemp. So Anna, the floor is yours.
Okay, so should I share my presentation, or you will play it from your side, because I send it?
If you have it, you can share it yourself.
Okay, I will try. Thank you. Screen.
You have 15 minutes, so I will let you know when the time is finishing.
Okay. Or maybe if you can, I will do. Okay, share.
We can see it.
Right. Just trying to make it like that. Can you still see it?
Yes.
All right, perfect. Okay, so thank you very much for invitation. I will try to cover a little bit more about the policy or hemp regulation in Czech Republic. So the Czech Republic regulation for the industrial hemp, but kind of it's the cannabis. So it's covered by the law of addictive substances, which was established, which was presented in 1998 in Czech Republic. So since 1998, the industrial hemp became legal to be grown in Czech Republic because there was a law. Before it was kind of like gray zone. With this law came kind of easy regulation for farmers, no licensing for farmers. They have to just do the like required announcement. So it's A4 form. They have to fill where did they grown, which fields, where, which kind of field, and where, what's the size of the grow, and after they harvest, they have another form where they have to announce the government how much do they harvest it and where they do store it. If they want to apply for subsidies for regular farming, they have to also announce to the institute which provide this funding when the hemp starts to grow, flower. Like, so the government office has like some time to come to the field and check it, as it's required from the European regulations to provide the subsidies. So they are checking 1/3 of the field of Czech Republic on the THC limit. For that requirement, they still testing our fields for 0.3 if the farmer want to obtain the subsidy, where it's 0.3 limit. But by the Czech regulation, we succeeded limit up to 1% THC. So if there are farmers who want to grow varieties up to 1%, or they don't want to be somehow getting in troubles because their THC overgrow in the final harvest, because we have to keep in mind that the fields are tested usually like 10 days after they start flowering. So it's not the highest amount of the THC what can be obtained when the fields are harvested. So for that reason, because in Czech Republic there was like few farmers who get in trouble because their field when they was harvested was like over 0.3. They get in like court case, very bureaucratic and processes. So we push our governments to make like 1% limit as a criminal offense for everybody who grows industrial hemp, and we wanted to have like this kind of tolerance. And this law applies for the growers over the 100 square meters. So if there are like small farmers or small people, small growers who are like growing just like hemp around their fence to have kind of a green wall, they can do it and they don't need to tell anybody if they grow industrial hemp or varieties up to 1%. And the same rule applies to the poppy, which is grown in Czech Republic on like 40,000 hectares. So the farmers are familiar with growing poppy. So the same rule, the same paperwork is required for industrial hemp. So they are kind of like familiar with that. A little bit like difficult. It's the topic of the CBD, because CBD, as we know, it's kind of by EU, it's an agenda of novel food. In Czech Republic, it's managed by the Minister of Agriculture, where is the Food Safety Department, which provides all the food supplements kind of applications, and they're also working on the regulation on the novel food agenda. And they managing all the regulation around that. Yeah. So this is like our body where we trying to kind of like discussing like how we can do better for our CBD market in Czech Republic. They are open, but we trying. State Health Institute giving statements on the safety. So if something need to be decided, Department of Food Safety ask State Health Institute to provide some statements. So they are kind of out of their responsibility if they decide something against us and they say, oh, this was just the State Health Institute. And the State Agriculture and Food Inspection then inspecting the market. So if the market is already placed on the product placed on the market, then it's under the responsibility of State Agriculture and Food Inspection to go check in the shops if the products are well labeled or they are not over limits or what they doing. And this year we had kind of like a tricky situation because in mid of April the European Commission published a statement where they confirmed that CBD is a novel food, and after that, like a few days later, Czech government decided to make the kind of ban on CBD since June, so they give like 1.5 months to give some time to the producers to figure out like what to do. In that time, we managed to avoid the ban, and with the policy support from the Prime Minister and National Drug Coordinator, we avoid this ban because there was already ongoing psychomodulatory substances new law where we trying to fit kratom, HHC, and we somehow said, oh, we put the CBD there, because we just like needed to avoid the ban, and it was the easy way how to do it for everybody. Psychomodulatory substances or psychomodulating substances, it's a very new, innovative approach how to regulate all the new, not very dangerous substances coming to the market. Basically like drugs which has not big social impact or health impact on the consumers, not too highly addicted or stuff like that, where like kratom, HHC, CBD, cannabinoids all applies that. Hemp industry is not very happy with this law and like application of the CBD on that because it's highly regulated law, a highly regulated situation for all these substances. It requires clear conditions on production, handling, labeling, marketing, and can be these substances can be handled only by the authorized registered providers. Cannot be shipped by packages, need to be only sold by authorized shops, not to the children over 18 age. Cannot be applied the marketing. So you can imagine this is something that like CBD industry is not much happy about that, so we try and avoid it. But in the end of the day, still this law will allow the CBD stay on the market as a legal substances, which is in the end of the day still something, and we will see it's going to the reading in the mid of January in the parliament. The obstacles, what I see in the general of the hemp industry, what I hope like we can discuss later on in the breakout sessions. Of course, it's connecting mostly with the CBD or flower topic, but like also cannabis in the general. Yeah, because I'm my company Hemp Point chips like hemp seeds over the world, like for the farming, fiber seeds, hemp fiber produced from it, and if I ship it, I have to provide a phytosanitary document, and on the phytosanitary document there is a Latin word cannabis, surprisingly. And when this seen by the DHL, PPL, DPD, they just don't touch this packet anymore, and they never take it. So it's an obstacle, and we should like somehow solve it. It goes somehow with the cannabis stigma. So this cannabis stigma is kind of the general, I think, obstacle what we have to face, and there is a problem also with the import. Even we have regulation up to 1% CBD flowers are legal in Czech Republic. If I try to import them from Colombia, they get stuck on the custom, and I never get them because they give you some funny reasons why. Problematic advertisement of the social media. Even we try to promote our events of the HempCluB. Sometimes we get like feedback that's not possible. Limited access to online payments. I think it's a general obstacle for like cannabis industry. We are luckier than like US people. They cannot like even like be provided by the regular banks. In Europe, we can have like bank accounts as a hemp industry, but with the online payments from these global providers, I also have like big problem when I establish my issue, like, and not only me, it's like general issue. So then I find some small local one who didn't need to ask some global body, and then I could do it. But the global ones, again, stigma, cannabis on their agenda cannot be touched. Even it's in they don't make difference between industrial hemp and cannabis in the general. And the kind of big obstacle in Czech Republic or obstacle situation, we have that products which cannot be placed on the market as they should be, they are placed on the market as a goods for collection. What's really making them not controllable? So anybody can check on the quality and safety, and even like this Institute for Food and Safety, they cannot go to check because it's for collection. So whatever. So we have a lot of stuff in shelves for collection. Of course, people consume.
Anna, you still have 2 minutes.
I'm good. I'm just having last slide where I will like to mention what I see as a like entrepreneur working 25 years in the hemp industry, what hemp industry should do as a homework, and we can also discuss on our on our breaking sessions. And in that point, I will probably change my breaking session to the CBD one, because I applied to the building one, but probably I should be in the CBD one if I mention so much about that. Anyways, so industry homework. I think we need to really like work somehow together and like make some strong union of all our industry. There is this federal. There is many organizations which working on the international level, and maybe they have to strongly work on the lobby on figure out this story with the online payments, with the advertising on social media, and with the shipment policy. Those three topics are very global one, and their hemp industry should strengthen together and lobby together. Without that, if some individuals will do it, we will never do anything. Education of stakeholders, it's like general topic. We need to do it we need to always like have some bodies based on research, like scientific bodies under our organizations, or have at least some scientific groups who will prove what we're doing. Otherwise, like nobody 100% will take what we're saying. So it can help us. The public promotion of benefits of hemp products. I think public already knows a lot, but more we educate, better we get. Standards and tracking tools for hemp products and processing in the production. They are already there, but not much used by the industry, and I think that it's a little bit what we can still improve and get on the same page and have like agreement on the standards and be very transparent. I think the transparency will really help to achieve our goals on the above topics. And yeah, and we can also under that like provide the safety data sheets for our products based on the market. So it will be also kind of going with the transparency and building trust, because the stigma, it's kind of nobody wants to talk to us because we are weird and we are like working with drugs. And more transparent we get, better we go. So this was kind of my summary, because I got just like 15 minutes. I didn't want it to be so long, but here is my email. If you have some questions, you can always go back to me, and I will be in the breaking session of the CBD because I mentioned that. So many topics going with that. So yeah, so you can join me and ask that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannah, for the presentation. You'll have time to ask her for more during the breakout session. So it's now time for our third speaker, Tatiana Onizei from Indagropol and other partners of the HempCluB project that will present the Romanian framework on hemp. So Tatiana, if you want to share your screen, the floor is yours. I think you're muted. I saw you talking, but I cannot hear you, and I see you that you're muted. You're still muted. You need to turn on your microphone. Okay, now it's working.
Okay, hello everybody, and thanks for this opportunity to present you the situation from Romania, which is a little bit complicated because we had a long tradition, but now we have not so many opportunities due to the law and regulation that apply to hemp. So, for cultivation of hemp, the conditions from Romania are very good. Actually, we had some of the most important producers in the years 70-80 with more than 45,000 hectares cultivated with hemp, especially for fiber at that moment. Of course, it is an attractive species from many points of view, but our problem in this moment is that there are problems with harvesting and the specific equipments which are not available. There are trends, positive trends in organic culture, where the producer, the farmers had good results with organic seed production and the export of these seeds, which is very profitable for them. Regarding the research here, it was a lot of work done. The first monograph is from 1958. Then they were developed in the years 50, 60. They are developed some agriculture research units, which are very well located on the territory, and they cover even the east and western side The climatic advantages of the area are expressed in the variety that were certified. Actually, they were varieties for stem and fibers, and you can see there the year of certification. They are for seeds also, and mixed variety, which are good also for seeds and for fiber. The direction for improvement were regarding reducing the content of THC, and you have to notice that we also have reference laboratory in Romania, which is under the coordination of agriculture. What are the serious issue in the moment? It's the lack of modern processing units, because there are some old ones which are not very productive. I mean the fiber, the textile industry. And we are at the beginning with the construction materials, but not yet very well represented. There is interest, but not yet well represented. Units. Regarding the legislative aspects, due to the psychoactive properties, the use of cannabis required multiple regulation. They were at international level, and Romania transposed them in different national regulation. And you can see here the history of this. Actually, what we have now is the THC content only 0.2%, and up this are considered cannabis as marijuana. As a result, at that moment, most of the varieties were actually not cultivated anymore, and quite this is the situation in this moment. What is the confusion in our text of law? It's the fact that cannabis is defined as the flowering or fruiting type of cannabis indica, not sativa, excluding seeds and leaves, which is okay. But in another part of the law, cannabis plants are defined as all species of cannabis, not only indica, but also sativa. That's why for industrial purposes in this moment, we have the possibility to authorize the cultivated area by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. The farmer has to declare the surface cultivated, also the variety which has to be low THC content, and also they have to present a contract for a beneficiary, someone who wants to buy what this farmer is producing for fiber, for seeds, or for other purpose. Looking a little bit to the traditional food preparation, we have found, of course, a lot of information about using of oil. It is, of course, extracted by cold pressure, using a flour, and from flour they can this produced hemp milk and also a lot of products. We also have a very specific cake which is called julfa and is used mainly for Christmas fast. And we put here the picture of such a press for oil, which is now in a museum, but is there from the 19th century. The modern products now, of course, we continue to produce hemp oil of good quality. There is a new company which produce bio oil. It is called the oil which is bio. Also seeds and flour and protein bars and tea, different food products like crackers, snacks, etc. are on the market, and they are produced by Romanian producers. I myself, I am involved in food supplement market. The legal provision here is that hemp is on the negative list of plants that can be used in food supplement, but for seeds and oil obtained by seeds, a technical committee can derogate, and so some of the Romanian producer could put on the market their products by derogation. I mean food supplements. So we have 21 food supplements which are on the market by derogation, but also 44 products. During the last year, we applied mutual recognition, and these products come from other UE member states. Of course, the food business operator have to ensure and show us, deliver all the documents to attest the safety of the products which are put on the market. As country of origin, Netherlands, Poland, Czech Republic, Austria, and Germany. As ingredient used, there are seeds, seed germs, fiber, and hemp oil. And the raw material used come from used by Romanian producer, come from Romania, but also from Germany, Ukraine, or Hungary. The special case of CBD and hemp extracts with CBD, of course, CBD is forbidden, let's say. And it requires authorization for the as novel food, both in EU and USA. I put here a warning. Why is forbidden? Mainly because sorry, it could be extracted also from industrial hemp, but also from marijuana. There's appear a confusion with certain CBD-based products which may fall under the medicinal regulation, and especially because their health claims that are used in advertising mainly. The reason for concerns, of course, are point of view safety, and there are a lot of studies from EU and USA which prove that there are serious concerns, mainly in the CBD content and declaration on the label, also in contaminants, and most of the time information which are not compliant from the regarding the information from the label with the content of the product. Online marketing is not so well controlled, so we have on the market products as CBD with therapeutic uses. We consider this. Unfortunately, they are not clear put in a category such as food supplements, medicinal or food. That's why it is very difficult for the authority to do something with them. Regarding the evolution and future of hemp-based preparation is a challenge for the authorities mainly because there are so different categories of products and hemp preparation. Food supplements, cosmetics, medicinal products. Probably the future, in our opinion, will be for CBD and THC as authorized as medicine. In this moment, in the Romanian parliament, there is a project for medicinal cannabis, but it was not discussed, and unfortunately, the government position is against legalize this cannabis, even for medical use. What we can see, it's also the consumer interest is growing, and the sales volume increasing year after year. What we also observe is that clinical studies are in attention of many institutions of research and education, university, and probably the fact that we have more research in the area is because the European Agency of Food Safety didn't approve any application for CBD as novel food, and they recommended to continue the studies in this area to have new results and to be very sure that no problem can be from point of view of safety of the consumption of these products. There is also challenges.
Tatiana, sorry to interrupt you. You have still 1 more minute.
Yes, I finished. It's the last line. It's also a problem to establish the maximum dose allowed. Romanian authorities didn't have such initiative, and also the consumer attraction for leaves are outside of the crime law, but in this moment the control also forbid these products on the market, despite the fact they are a lot. I mean, infusion, beer, soft drinks, energy drinks, and so on. So from our point of view, imperative needs is to improve the legislative framework, to eliminate the confusion, to establish differentiation criteria, and also to establish the maximum daily intake. Of course, to continue the market surveillance and control, and to have a better education of the food business operators to use best practices, and continue with education of consumers to understand very clear what they want and what they can take from the market in a legal trade. Thank you for your attention. Just stop share. Okay.
Thank you, Tatiana. Sorry, I was talking with my microphone muted. So thank you very much for this very interesting presentation. So as I mentioned it before, if you have any question for Tatiana, you can write on the chat, and we will have some time also during the breakout session to discuss it more. So I leave the floor to the last speaker of this plenary session before our breakout session, which is Humberto Nogueira. I hope I pronounced it correctly, from Portugal. So Humberto, if you are here, I think you can share your screen. The floor is yours. Humberto, are you here? If you're here, we cannot hear you. I'm not sure. Maria Elena, have you heard from him?
No, no news.
Really, that's really a pity.
Hello. He was just here because I saw him.
Okay.
Let me try to see if I can find him. 1 second.
Okay, thank you. Oh, I see from the chat that the exit, maybe the connection wasn't working. Oh, here he is. Okay.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry. Some technical issues here, some road maintenance, so I lost power for a few seconds. So anyway, I failed to bring you my presentation, but our status in Portugal, it's difficult but very simple to understand. So in resume, there's a period which is from the 90s till 2023. So from the 90s until 2027 in Portugal, there was not a specific legislation for industrial hemp. Basically, there's this cabinet that is responsible to issue policies. So this cabinet basically used to said, so industrial hemp, you have to communicate with the authorities and with the Food and Veterinary Agency in order to protect the farmer or the agriculture company not to be confused as a narcotic operation. So it was very simple. We just had to communicate. There was no restriction on there was no authorizations. There was no restriction on which part of the plant we can or not profit on. I've started grow industrial hemp in 2017. So that was exactly the last year farmers here could freely grow industrial hemp. By February 2018, it was introduced by the Cabinet for Policies the need for a formality for the Food and Veterinary Agency to say, oh, everything is okay with the data you provided regarding your seeds, your land, so you may grow. That same year, June 2018, Portugal legalized medical cannabis in the parliament, which was, the law was enforced by January 2019. At this time, by July 2018, I had other stakeholders reporting that the Food and Veterinary Agency would not allow or issue any more information regarding industrial hemp because now Portugal legalized medical cannabis and everything related with cannabis. It's with the Infarmed, which is our medicines and pharmaceutical products regulator. And the Portuguese law nominated Infarmed to regulate exclusively the medical cannabis process, issuing licenses, inspections, and everything regarding medical cannabis. So from this period, 2018 to 2020, August 2020, all agencies that farmers, companies, and stakeholders asked regarding how can we grow hemp, what's the procedure, all agencies would throw the responsibilities to another agency. So it was an authentic ping pong game from 2018 to August 2020. Well, this group of stakeholders, Canacasa, Lusitana, and individualities, we fought for our rights, and by August 2020, the government released finally the first law regarding industrial hemp and the process it's with this law that the Portuguese legislator introduced by 2020 the need for an authorization. So this was not what we fought for, because an authorization, at least in the Portuguese agriculture scenario, doesn't make any sense since it's an horticulture. But at the same time, because this is a variety of cannabis, we had to follow what the legislator created. So by 2021, the legislators removed the keyword hemp or industrial hemp. So from 2021, there was this update on the medical cannabis legislation, and so they introduced the keyword cannabis for industrial purposes, removing totally the words hemp or industrial hemp. So they fused in the same document medical cannabis and industrial hemp. By 2022, there was the last slash of the blade into the sector. The legislation introduced technical procedures to grow industrial hemp in Portugal, creating basically a lot of limitations. Now, what the legislation says is that in Portugal, we can only apply in this authorization process for fiber or seed for dual purpose or experimental, which is a mention to trials. Other limitations are the mentioning that farmers in Portugal cannot grow inside facilities like greenhouses, which is a crazy idea, since there are direct payments from the European Union. Also, the limitation to grow the minimum area of 5,000 square meters, which in Portugal it's unthinkable, since more than 85% of the arable land, agriculture suitable, the land suitable for agriculture, is composed by small and medium farmers, with most of them with less than 5,000 square meters. Another limitation was farmers can only apply a minimum of 30 kilograms of seed per hectare, which with the minimum of 5,000 square meters means 15 kilograms per half an hectare. Also, and this was how they denounced their real intentions, the law in the updates in the law of 2022 mentions that in Portugal, the farmers cannot remove whole flower, and it doesn't matter if it contains seed or not. So, and directly, it is the same to say you, the farmer, also have to become the processor of your seed and your flower, or your flower into biomass eventually inside your farming lands. So this intentionally or not created the idea that in Portugal we cannot grow for CBD, we cannot, hemp-derived CBD, or grow for hemp flowers. A lot of farmers that are growing actually for at least since 2018 actually assume that, and they say that in publicly, but that's not the truth. Without the flower, there is no seed. So the legislation in Portugal is so focused on blocking the opportunity for farmers to profit on the flower, on the seed, on the secondary metabolic content, that they even forgot two major points in order for a law to be effective in Portugal. So they failed in this legislation to mention previous articles in the Portuguese law or communitary European law that actually supports or allowed them to impose these restrictions on an horticulture. And they also fail to create a legal frame or penalties if a farmer grows less than 5,000 square meters, if a farmer grows less than 30 kilograms per hectare, or inside a greenhouse, or eventually also remove his whole flower from the farm. Well, this is the current scenario. Portuguese associations. I personally am now evolving into an Iberian association, because the collaborations between Portugal and Spain when it comes to industrial hemp increased a lot this season, and it only will grow for the next season. So it was wise for us to collaborate as Iberians at first. So at the same time, this what I've just described is what happened in the state, but behind the curtain. Since 2018, there's been a lot of crop destructions by the police because they still confuse with industrial hemp with the narcotic operation. Also, the Food and Veterinary Agency, intentionally or not, instrumentalized or not, has been informing the police that this or that farmer didn't get the authorization, so go there and check if they are growing anyways. And this is the beginning of the value chain, and at the end of the value chain, a lot of CBD shops and hemp shops raided by the food safety police, ASAI. So a lot of CBD, a lot of hemp foods containing cannabinoids are not seized by the police. Last year, November 2nd, I had the pleasure to be at the headquarters in Lisbon of the criminal police to basically get back 40 kilograms of CBD flower, hemp CBD flower, and CBD hashish that were seized 2.5 years before by the police. So the case was filed, and the material was by court order was returned to the rightful owner. So we have Portuguese law cases enough, and also in the European Union, for the Portuguese legislator to actually update the law in order to make it more something more close to the reality of the stakeholders of the sector, at least in Europe. But so far, stakeholders, associations, individuals, the legislators always fail to invite us to provide inputs and to actually update the industrial hemp laws in our favor. So this is the current scenario. Also, good to remind something. Since 2018, Portugal legalized medical cannabis, and the sector thrived. So good in Portugal. I travel a lot, and I hear a lot from foreigners, from friends and colleagues from the cannabis industries, that Portugal is now the new Mecca of medical cannabis. It is, in fact, but any hemp farmer or any hemp stakeholder here knows that the evolution of industrial hemp and medical cannabis had one issue that we are all failing to solve or to find proper solutions, which is the cross-pollinations. I've consulted a few foreigner investors and North American cannabis companies. Most of them, in their many questions, one prevails, which is, how is industrial hemp in your country? Because we don't want cross-pollination in our investments. So aside from the CBD, the cheap version from hemp versus the extremely expensive version from medical cannabis operations, it's also the cross-pollination issue that concerns, leaves a lot of concerns to us in Portugal regarding the expanse and the evolution of industrial hemp. So this is the scenario.
Alberto, sorry for interrupting you. You have still 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes, okay. But basically, I've summarized our current status. I will be available if anyone wants to know more regarding regarding Portugal, and also regarding this possibility to collaborate at the Iberian level with Spanish associations and stakeholders. Thank you very much, everyone, for this opportunity. And I hope each of you never, ever give up on industrial hemp. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Humberto. It was really, really interesting. And it was a pleasure to have you here as a speakers. This is a thanks that for all the speakers that we have today. So now we have concluded our plenary session, and we will have now our breakout session. We will have 3 breakout sessions, one on CBD and cannabinoids led by Lorenza Romanese. Then we will have one on recycle and upcycle of textile and fibers, led by Guido Bottini and Marco Benedetti. And finally, we will have our 3rd breakout session on harmonization of the legislation in the building sector, led by Francesco Meritti. The breakout session will last for about 40 minutes. And then we will all come back to this plenary session for a little sum up of these different breakouts made by the speakers. We will have also 10 minutes at the end for final questions and wrap up. So the breakout session will start at 11:30. We have a 6-minute break. During this break, we will divide you into different breakout sessions based on the preferences you have stated in the Google form we sent you during this meeting. So we will meet again in 6 minutes. Please be on time, as we will have a lot to discuss during the breakout session.